It's tax season. I know it's super, super exciting, especially if you live in Roatan, Honduras, and also are an United States citizen, where I have to file taxes in both countries. And this is by no means tax advice ever, especially when I'm talking about anything with the United States and all the liability and whatnot. However, if you're thinking about moving to Roatan, buying a home here, we do have to talk about some things. So, and there's a lot of, well, you are more than welcome to talk to a tax attorney, your own accountant. This is the story of my life, which I just try to follow the rules, begrudgingly sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's just some things to think about home ownership in Roatan, Honduras, assuming that you have citizenship in another country. I believe the United States is one of the only countries that does make you pay taxes if you do not live there. Even if you are a bona fide resident of another country like I am. I get a lot of pushback on this online with the comments, especially on TikTok. So hey, maybe you guys know a lot more than I do. I just know all of the people that I have to pay to make sure I don't have, they're expensive. Hopefully they're good, and hopefully I'm following the rules. Been doing it for 15 years. Well, trying to do what I need to do, and it's paying a lot of people a lot of different things to keep both countries happy, and holding a real estate license in both countries, so the taxes are a little bit different. But home ownership in Roatan, if you if you don't reside in Roatan, you still will have to pay property taxes, which the property taxes are going up from what they have been historically. Now, that also comes with, they've been historically low and lower than what they technically should have been, could have. And I'm not saying it's wrong, right, or otherwise. Don't shoot the messenger. Just property taxes for lots for a very, very long time were $100, $200 a year. Now the municipal is going through and checking for registrations, because if you did pull a permit, which you should do, they are going to reassess the houses. They're reassessing right now. So my property taxes went from $200, almost threw $1,000 on there. And anyway, but they are now, with the improvements, they are $1,000 a year, which, and they were on it very, very quickly. Usually we had like 3 or 4 years, which same as Colorado. We used to have several years to kind of wait for the trickle to come up. Nope, the second that house closes, they are taxing you at that new rate. And if you are in a high metro district, well, we can talk about that later. But Colorado and their metro districts, to avoid those HOAs, you're still paying at the end of the day. So I would anticipate lots being around $200, homes in the $1,000. If you run it through a corporation, you're also gonna have to file the taxes through most likely an accountant, so that adds on fees. And then the businesses do typically pay a higher rate. If you want more details on that, don't ask me about it. That's about as much as I will go into, but accountants are wonderful. And everyone at the tax office has been very nice and very helpful. And the lines have been like really moving, which is wonderful. It used to be like an all-day event, and now you're only in there like 30 minutes to an hour, and the Wi-Fi or the signal works. So little exciting things in Roatan with the new nice municipal office near the ferry terminals. So it's no longer in the town center of Coxenholm. So a few other things to think about if you do legally reside in Roatan. Taxes, going back to if you when you buy property, you do pay a few percent based on the sale of buying the property. So I always tell my clients to expect around 6% in closing costs, which will be taxes, which are ever changing, which is why I'm not going to give you the percentage, because every time I look at it, it seems to change, which it's going in the upward direction. If you're wondering if it was going down, it's not. It's just going up a little bit, and it's not too much, but so it's still around that 6%, and then your closing fees, and then miscellaneous fees such as getting an RTN number, which is similar to a social security number. It allows you to track everything. It's how you can just make sure everything's registered, pay your taxes, all of those things with the SAR. So, there's a lot there. If you're going to sell a property, the 4% sales capital gains is what we have to withhold from your home sale, or not. When I say we, not me. what we have to do when we transfer money. So keep that in mind. And how that is determined, it's, in my opinion, something goes on behind closed doors. I can't give you all the details, but I can give you wonderful people that can give you a approximate of what that is going to be. But also keep in mind, if you legally work here, like a realtor, for anything that I make, automatically around, well, 12.5% come out, but it's up to 25% of any income. So anything I do with properties, I also have those fees and those taxes onto it. And then we have our sales tax, which it's just changed also, and it's between 15 and 19%, depending on what that item is. With that catch, there's a lot of these. You can also be charged a luxury tax on some things, especially if you are importing items. So if you are like furniture, cars, and that are deemed luxury, perfumes, wine, you can be taxed up to 57%, where you can write off or you can pass through less than 20% of that. So there's a lot of there's a lot of things there. If you do have any questions that are more complex, those are just kind of the big ones. Most people don't have to deal with them, but when you are buying a house, there's a lot of ins and outs, like, well, furnishing your house, the sales tax. I mean, the 15 to 19%, that's not a small number. That goes on to the price of everything. Like, I just bought materials for a fence. It was $600. Well, $600 plus 15%. Now, luckily, I get to pass through some of that sales tax to offset some of those other taxes that I pay. But just more about the home ownership, the capital gains, which they're getting, and they get it grow. Well, they get their numbers. They get their numbers. I don't know how they do it. It's just, well, it's magic that goes on, and it's getting, in my opinion, complicated, kind of like the United States. Not saying we're the same countries, or well, I'm just going to leave that one there. But just some things to think about, because those amounts do add up, especially over time. Having your property taxes that were historically at $200, now they're at $1,000. Still, they're very, very low compared to other things. I've got a unit in the state of Georgia. It cost me $18,000 in property taxes a year because I don't have any deductions, because I don't legally live in the United States. I live here. So I have to give up that homestead exemption, which would lower those taxes by about 50%. State of Colorado, where I still work as a listing agent, is we have, the taxes have gone up too. Basically everything's doubled. So everywhere in the world is really getting really quick and good at increasing those taxes. So if you ever have any questions, my door is always open. And if I don't have the answer, I usually know someone that is very smart and knows the answer for me.